Hello again. Okay, so this next batch of soap I really like, I really enjoy. It's a very antibacterial soap that we're gonna do. This is my pine tar soap that I make. I actually put pine tar in it, I put pine needles in it, and I put Scotch pine essential oil in it. So I'm going to show you this recipe, making sure you can see it, of what's all. I really enjoy this soap. It's a very hard soap. Um, it can be. So my normal batch I use beef tallow. I don't have beef tallow, so I'm going to use this recipe that does not have it. Tallow and coconut oil will give you hard bars of soap, and then your olive oil and your liquid oils will give you softer-ish bars of soap. So for the most part, I'm sure there's oils that break that rule. Um, so one of the things I do with my pine tar soap is I use actual pine branches, pine leaves, not the branches. We're going to take the leaves off the stick. So I have my handy dandy cutting board. I'm just gonna, careful not to stab yourself. If you're allergic to pine, I don't suggest this. We're gonna need about 2 ounces of pine. It's ground up. A really easy way to do this. It's kind of like a rosemary. Well, normally it works. I just want the leaves. I don't want the stick part. As much of that out as you can. I'm just going to pull those needles off. You can use a stick if you want to. I actually had the soap requested and I used the stick part of it one time, and it did not grind very well in my Ninja. The stick part didn't, so he got a pretty good cut. So now I just take them off of leaves. Off of the branch. This is what we do. We use not just one kind of pine tree, just a couple. We have these pines as well. It's very beautiful. It's really green. Must have been a new sprout, so probably just maybe. I'm just gonna pick them all off. I just really think the way that Yahweh created a lot of nature is just beautiful. And the fact that we can use it in home remedies and whatnot. You can actually use pine needles for tea. Now, with me saying that, I should also say be careful of the pine tree and what you get it from, because not all pine trees can you use the needles for tea. But in general, pines are good for your vitamin C. They boost your immune system. So if you are not allergic to pine and you like drinking tea, suggest do some research and go find a pine tree and have some pine tea. It'll probably do your body good. We could all use some natural remedies. We're just going to pluck and pluck and pluck away here. This dark green pine is very potent. So I have a little cup here. See where we're at, because we're going to grind all this. So we want approximately 2 ounces of ground pine. So you can probably keep going. If you want to scroll through at this point, you're more than welcome to. This part's going to take a minute. A lot of times I know there's easier ways to do things. I'm a very hands-on person though. I like to feel, touch, and see, especially when it comes to making my stuff. I want to know the consistency, how much there is, what's really there, what does it feel like, what does it smell like. You know, Yahweh gave us our senses for a reason, and when you choose not to use them, I feel that's an issue. But that's me and my opinion. These things can stop you. starting to make maybe little pine cones. Show you, I don't know if you can see the little pine cones. So we're just going to continue doing this until we get our little jar filled up a little bit more, maybe to the 4-ounce line. That way it can be condensed. And we will be back. Okay, so I just want to show you this. This is the coconut oil I'll be using for the pine tar. It's the same exact thing as this. The only difference I can see is the company is different. 76-degree melting point. It's organic. It's a virgin. This one does not say it's cold pressed though. It says unrefined and non-GMO USDA organic. But what I wanted to tell you about coconut oil is down here it's in liters and ounces. I measure this with weight as a solid. If it's melted or if I'm going to heat it, then I measure it as a liquid, because the weight varies in the different forms of oil. So any oil that's hard and melts. I also have a palm oil that gets hard and melts. So if it's solid, then measure it as weight. If it's you're going to heat it and liquefy it, then measure it as liquid. Very important to know when you're measuring. It won't harm your soap if you over measure. It'll, like, the lye won't consume all of your oil. But if you under measure, you can end up with a lye heavy soap, which is not well. So go through the process of measuring with you. You need a scale. You're going to need a bowl. You're going to need a spoon. You're going to need a couple of measuring cups for this one. Because we're going to use pine tar, and that can get a little messy. So, I've been making soap all day. This is my 4th batch of soap today. I hope through all these videos you guys are learning something. When you turn your scale on, put your bowl on, make sure it's zeroed out. You want it to say 0, 0. If it's not, then you can over or under measure. This is one of my most favorite things to do, is sit here and make soap. If I don't talk a lot, it's because I'm getting tired. And this is just very calming to me to do this. So, but in retrospect, this is my 4th batch of soap today. This is the 3rd one I've recorded today. And I believe I started about 10 o'clock this morning, roughly. And it's now almost 6 o'clock at night. So if that gives you any type of idea of how long soap takes to make. Okay. So 16 ounces of coconut oil. Now we need 8 ounces of olive oil. So this is the olive oil I will be using. It says cold extracted, USDA organic. So we need 8 ounces of olive oil. This is a 16-ounce measuring cup, so I'm going to put the olive oil and the coconut oil in the same, or not coconut oil, olive oil and the corn oil. Told you I was getting tired. So I'm going to use corn oil again. If you haven't seen my other videos, the reason I use corn oil is because it's very conditioning to the skin. It gives your soap a creamy type of texture. It really does help. Corn oil is one of the oils, I do believe it has to be heated in order to be made, but it has its benefits. One of the things on here is it says there's no preservatives. Oil in of itself is a preservative, but the ingredients on this is only corn oil. So corn oil has its benefits for the skin. It's very hydrating. I don't know. I have oil all over me, so, but it can be very hydrating to your skin. Helps a lot. Now, one of the things I try to do with all my oils, or all my soaps, not all my oils, is when I make a soap recipe, I try and hit all the acids that your skin needs to create a well-rounded soap. So your skin can take in what it needs and leave what it does not need. That was 1 ounce of castor oil. Castor oil is really good for the skin. It also causes your soap to be bubbly. So some of your oils, coconut oil and tallow will create it to be bubbly. Olive oil, not so much. With the main oils I use. So I add a little bit of castor oil in to every batch of soap I make for the suds, and because it's overall good for your skin, it's full of vitamins, like vitamin E, in which your skin can absorb and use. And so we're going to pour all that liquid oil into our coconut oil. Just like that. And set that aside. Now comes for the messy part. We're going to need pine tar. This is what I use. This is what makes pine tar soap, pine tar, and I just spilt it everywhere. It's very antibacterial. They use it on horses for hoofs and other bacterial infections. Let me clean this mess up and we'll be right back. Okay, now that we got that cleaned up, I had to call in some reinforcements because pine tar went all down the table, my leg, and on the floor, and it's sticky, sticky, sticky stuff. So you're going to need 8 ounces of this pine tar. as I was saying previously, they use this on cattle, horses, on their hooves, because it's very good antibacterial. So we need 8 ounces of it. You can carefully pour 8 ounces into your cup here. Because I spilt it, all that rim. So I'm going to have to figure out what I'm going to do to keep it from sealing shut on me. So we'll just set that there for the moment. Then this is going to go into your oils. You're just going to put it into your oils as an oil, and you're going to cook your soap with the pine tar in it. That's why I said this is messy, messy, messy. Creates a really good soap though. So there's that part of it. It will stain. It will stain. So be aware if you're gonna make it. Pine tar can be messy if you're not careful. It is sticky. Stained my card to make a new one. So we can set that aside now. We're going to put that in there. All your oils are ready to go in your crock pot, and you are ready to measure out your lye and your water. So we'll do that next. Okay, we got our oils in our crock pot. Our crock pot is heating. Now we need to measure out our lye and our water. So you have your scale, your handy dandy scale. You use rinsed out, making sure it's dry so the lye don't stick. You don't want your crystals to be activated until you're ready. Put that on the scale, zero it out, make sure you're in pounds and ounces. We need 5.3 ounces, so I will probably do 5 ounces. So actually it's 5.3 exactly. So I'm going to set that aside. Get your water ready. Well, my scale does do ounces, but I usually use the measuring on the sides for my liquid, and we need 10.7 ounces of water. So this one doesn't have it. It has 8, 10, and 12 ounces. So do about 10. And a half. Okay. So our lye and our water are ready to go outside and be mixed together, because we don't never ever mix lye and water indoors, and especially not in an unventilated area. It does come off if you mix lye and water together, I'm not going to show it in this video. So if you go back to some of my other videos, I show how it steams and chems off. And those chemicals, breathe it in, or if your dogs or cats or children get into them, it can be very poisonous. Please be careful. Wear goggles, gloves, whatever you need to do to feel safe. We don't, we take a lot of precautions to not come in contact with the lye or the lye water. But if you feel more comfortable wearing glasses, you know, like the safety goggles and gloves to better protect yourself, then go for it. A lot of people do that. They just feel like they need to put that out there, because if you do come in contact with the lye or the lye water solution, it can irritate your skin. I was making some cold processed soap, and some of it got on my skin, and it did cause little welts, even after I applied vinegar that's supposed to alkalize the lye. So make sure your vinegar is handy if you're going to mix these chemicals together, or chemicals, water and lye together, so that it can alkalize. Use as much as you need to. I usually, if I start to feel irritation, I will immediately start spritzing vinegar on my hands. So, just a tip on that. And then when we come back, we will do our pine needles and our essential oil.